What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Sports Banner. I'm Bryce, and I'm joined by Calvin and Luca, and today we'll be talking about some good old basketball. So, starting off, I'm just going to talk about a couple games from this past week, kind of going over the summary of all of it and kind of see what these guys' thoughts are about it.
Yeah.
So, first game we're going to talk about is January 27th. It was a Wednesday night. The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the third in the Eastern Conference, beat the Lakers, who, as you might know, were the NBA champions last season. So it was a pretty big deal. It was a 107-106 win for the 76ers. Ben Simmons, the guard out of LSU, had a triple-double. Joel Embiid, 28 points. Looks like maybe the MVP of this season.
Hey, Bryce,
Tobias Harris had 24. What's up?
Before you keep going, would you mind telling me what a triple-double is?
Oh, dude, that's fine. All right, so triple-double basically is when you have three sort of stats. Like for Ben Simmons, he had double-digit points, rebounds, and assists. So
it's
basically
really
when
good.
you hit double digits in three statistical categories,
All right, thank you.
basically kind of shows you like, oh, he's an all-around good player because he got 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists in one night. Like, the man's doing everything on the court.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Gotcha. And so for the Lakers, LeBron dropped 34, still couldn't get the win. Anthony Davis scored 23 points and grabbed 8 rebounds. So basically what happened at the end is that the Lakers, they were down by a good amount, but they almost came back to win. But because Anthony Davis missed a 3-point shot at the end of the game, the 76ers came out with the win. So I think this is a huge game to talk about because obviously the Lakers last season looked very dominant, especially in the bubble playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, they've been looking pretty good too, but I think the 76ers have been looking, after being just taken out from like the second round of the playoffs for a couple years, they're finally looking like a real championship contender.
Mm-hmm.
So do y'all have any thoughts?
Yeah, I thought at the start of the season, I mean, my basketball knowledge is not the greatest, but the 76ers were definitely up there as some of the better teams for this season. But a win over the Lakers is a big deal. Tobias Harris killed it. Looking at the highlights, he had a great game. I think the 76ers team, even though it was a close score, they really wanted to win this game. Obviously, that's such a stupid statement, but they had something to prove that night. This is the Lakers we're talking about. I think it's not even the fact that they won last year. It's the Lakers. The Lakers have been one of the biggest basketball teams since we've been alive. So anytime you go against them, it's a big game. And 76ers just decided to be the better team that night. I think almost every other time they'd go against each other, the Lakers would win. But the 76ers they brought it home. So good dub for them for sure.
Calvin, do you have anything to say about this, or you good?
No. It all sounds pretty good. For those of you who don't know, I know virtually nothing about basketball except that when the ball goes into the net, it's usually points. So I won't have much to say on this. It sounds pretty
Is there
cool,
any...
though.
Wait. Hey, guys, is there any time the ball goes through the net it's not a point?
Maybe if they blew the whistle and then the guy was standing on the ground but still decided to throw it anyways.
I guess that. I thought you were talking
That's
about
honestly a good answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah, I was like, is Calvin thinking that there's like an illegal shot or something during the game? 'Cause I don't think there is.
Anywho, next game. This happened Friday night, January 29th. Not going to talk about this too much. I literally just wanted to put in that the Pelicans, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, they are just a great team. Third in the Eastern Conference. So they've been a really good team. Mm-hmm. The best player on their team is Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2-time back-to-back MVP of the season. And the Pelicans, this year, they've been pretty bad. I mean, definitely below expectations. Mm-hmm. But the Pelicans won by 5, 131 to 126. And it was really just a good team effort from the Pelicans as Zion Williamson, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. And you don't see a lot of assists from these big guys. Like Zion, he's
true.
a thick beast. But you don't see him passing around. He's not known as a passer.
Bryce.
So seeing hit what?
I just want to say a question real quick, especially since you have such love for this team.
I do.
The quality from Zion, should he be playing like this almost every game?
Zion, you're talking about with the assists?
No, I'm just talking about as an overall performance.
Yeah. I mean, Zion and Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram was an all-star last year for the Pelicans. Basically all-star, kind of like the NFL's Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Just had to throw that out there. You usually expect Brandon Ingram and Zion to score at least 20.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. Because they are the 2 stars on the team. So usually they take much of the workload. But in this game, Eric Bledsoe and Lonzo Ball, 2 of the supporting point guards on this team, Eric Bledsoe scored 25 points. Lonzo scored 27. That is their season high for both of them.
Jeez.
They have not been consistent at all. This game they came out and they shot extremely well. And that's ultimately what put the Pelicans over the top. Mm-hmm. They had a very hot start to begin with. And then Giannis ended with 38 points and 11 rebounds. He was trying to will that team back to win, but it was really that big lead from the Pelicans that gave them the win. So I just wanted to let you know, like, the Pelicans, they won. They did something.
They did something. Yeah.
But I just wanted to say they got blown out the next night by the Houston Rockets. So
that's the Pelicans for you.
That is the Pelicans for you. But don't sleep on Milwaukee. Milwaukee, they lost that game, but they're still a really good team.
Yeah, definitely.
But last game I want to talk about. The most surprising result. I talked to Luca about this one. It was wild. The Washington Wizards beat the Brooklyn Nets. And to give you some kind of background, the Washington Wizards are the worst team in their conference. Out of the 15 teams in their conference, they are the worst.
They have one really good player. That's about it.
They
have two. They have two, yeah.
But they have one good player. But literally, they have the worst. They have the worst record in the East. And the Brooklyn Nets, the number 2 seed in the East, they have 3 star players: Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden. And yet, the Wizards beat the Nets, 149 to 146. That's a very high scoring game.
If I recall correctly, didn't the Cavs do the same thing?
Cavs?
Didn't they do the same thing?
Did they beat the Nets? I have no idea.
Or maybe it wasn't them. Wasn't it Sexton that basically single-handedly carried that
You're
game
right.
almost?
You're right. Colin Sexton basically killed the Brooklyn Nets. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it seems
that's
like the
true.
Nets
that
just
was
might
like
be in a little bit of a skid right now because, I mean, that's 2 games that they pretty much shouldn't have lost. That it's just pretty inexplicable, honestly.
That's true. And you know what, Calvin? We're going to talk about that in a bit.
I have something to follow. After this game, I got something to follow up with the Wizards, by the way. But,
all right. Well, I just wanted to... Okay, so for the people, the Nets fans who might be watching, yes, James Harden didn't play in that game. I know. However, you had Joe Harris, who is pretty much a role player on this team, drop 30 points. Kyrie dropped 26. KD scored 37. And you still lost because Russell Westbrook had the best game of his damn freaking season. 41 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. And you never see that from him anymore.
Yeah.
It was just end of the game heroics by also Bradley Beal, their best player on the team, scoring 37 points, like he always does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bradley Beal, he's just a scoring machine. I think he leads the league in points right now. Per game, if I'm not mistaken.
Bradley Beal?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'll check that. Yeah, 35 points a game for Bradley Beal.
Jeez. I should know that he's on
He's-
my fantasy team.
He's going nuts.
Oh, hey,
But
speaking of
yeah.
fantasy teams, I just got my first win since week 1. So,
I'm going against the best team right now, and I can't catch a freaking break, dude. I'm gonna get killed.
Don't you have Jokic?
I'm the second best team, yes. But hey, Bryce, you hit that surprise win on me, and I feel like that's gonna be the rest of my seasons. People hitting surprise wins on me.
Really?
But anyways, I want to mention this about the Wizards. So yeah, they had their heroics against the Nets, but guess who they lost to?
I feel like I watched this game.
The Hawks. This
Oh,
might
I
be
didn't-
the stupidest team to ever support. They beat the Timberwolves. They lose to the Bucks. They beat the Clippers. They lose to the Nets. They beat the Wizards. They lose to the Lakers. And none of these have been extremely blowout games. The Lakers game, by the way, was hilarious because of that girl getting kicked out.
Oh, I heard
I don't
about
know if
that.
y'all saw that. Yeah, she was yelling at LeBron, and LeBron said something about her husband and all that kind of stuff, which was funny. But I wish she didn't do that because that probably got LeBron playing better. So, yeah, just an
You
odd
say
team.
cheering for the Hawks is stupid.
Well, okay, not as stupid as the Pelicans, but
Exactly. Dude, the Pelicans, I don't know why people cheer for this team. Like, it's
They hate
just
themselves.
It's so bad.
all right, what you got next, Bryce?
Well, we're talking about the Nets. We're talking about the big trade back kind of the middle of January. James Harden gets traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets.
Mhm.
And everyone had an opinion on this because wow, you traded basically your whole core away for 3-star players and barely anything else on your roster. But looking at it, their record since they've got James Harden, 6-3. The 2 losses to Cleveland, and then the 1 loss to Washington Wizards. But here's where I think is really telling. So according to StatMuse on Twitter, the Nets with this big 3 had a 122.6 offensive rating, which is on track for the best of all time.
okay.
However,
Their
their
defense is
defensive
horrible.
rating,
Yep.
199.9.
That's
On
horrible.
track for the worst of all time.
That's horrible. That says a lot about how the game is nowadays. Not to sound
Yeah.
like an old head, but that's a big sign.
You're right. Like, okay, and I'm not trying to sound like an arrogant person here, but I saw this coming.
A lot of people did, yeah.
If you trade away Jared Allen, probably your best center on the team, and you have one real center left, the paint is wide open. Kevin Durant is coming back from an Achilles injury, so he's not as fast as he used to be. And then Harden, he's everyone knows him as a flopper. He doesn't really play defense as well. Kyrie, he's kind of solid, but still.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
He
He's had
can be solid when he wants to be.
That's true. He just has problems carrying a team.
It's
in
all
my
it's all
opinion.
about effort. So,
Yeah.
but my point here is that in the playoffs is where the defensive play really starts to become important. So
Yeah.
maybe this could be the Nets just being like, we have such a good offense that we're not going to care on defense.
Mhm.
But come playoff time, it could come to bite them in the ass. Or we could see Kevin Durant and James Harden pick up the defense and start to play really well. But honestly, people need to stop freaking out. It's not the end of the world. I'm very interested to see where this is going and if they're going to win a championship this year because of that big move.
Mhm.
But, we'll see. I wasn't a fan of the trade to begin with, and it's easy to see why. But, they've gotten this far. They're 6-3. That's more wins than losses.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that.
How's the trade been working out for the Cavs though? Pretty good, right?
I'd say so. I mean, they have they have Jared Allen, which
Yeah.
is he's a good young piece for them, good young center for that team. I mean, you really want to lose with that team. Try and tank for a draft pick.
You're right.
Although, I don't believe in tanking, but that's a whole other story for a whole other time.
You definitely should play for the win. I agree. But with the Nets,
I have a whole argument for it.
Let's not get into that right now. I think with the Nets, their defensive kinks, they can definitely work them out, but they have to choose to do that. If they just ignore it, that's going to be a problem. But they have plenty of time to work it out before the playoffs. So
yeah,
I wouldn't worry too much.
Right. I agree. So, big story with Shaquille O'Neal and Donovan Mitchell.
Calvin's favorite, Shaq.
Man, all right. So, like
himself.
a week or two ago, Shaq. All right. So I think the Jazz. I don't know if they won the game or they lost the game, but Shaquille O'Neal, he's on TNT with that crew, and so basically he has a little virtual interview with Donovan Mitchell live on TV, and Shaq says, "I said tonight that you are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose because I wanted you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?" So the man, Shaq, just calls him out on live TV, and he wants Donovan Mitchell's response. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell says, and I quote, "Nothing." That was it. However, you might not think it's that bad, but everyone took it as Shaq is disrespecting the new players. That's not like he's just crapping on the new guys. Mm-hmm. And LeBron James responded on Instagram, and he said, "There's a difference between constructive criticism and soft hating, though. I've seen it both ways come my way, mostly the hate." And then Kevin Durant responds to that post, which I don't know why. He says about old players should leave the coaching to the coaches. He said, "Them old heads need to go enjoy retirement. These boys have coaches they work with every day. LOL."
Can I give my side of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go first.
I think, at least referring to the Durant thing first, he's not wrong. He's 100% not wrong, but you see in any sport, you see tons of old players becoming commentators and analysis, those kind of roles. So those roles will never get thrown out for players. So I think that's something that Durant's tweet's not going to change that at all. But he's also looking at that. I think he's trying to tell the younger players, hey, don't listen to them. Listen to your coaches. I think that's how he's saying it. But even though I don't really want to defend Shaq because he's done this a lot, and a lot of times it sort of explodes in his face, but I get it in a certain way. I think he's trying to play that big brother role. He's trying to bully a little bit, but I think he's doing it for a good reason. I think he's throwing all this crap at them because he wants them to play better. Because maybe that's how it worked for him. Maybe the trash talk to Shaq made him want to play better. So he might be doing what worked for him and trying to make it work for others. Now, it may not end up working, but I don't necessarily think Shaq is doing this from a bad heart. I think he's trying to do this in the way that it might have worked for him. That's my opinion. But it could definitely come off bad. And if the player hates it, I think Shaq should just be the bigger man and shut up about it. But there's two sides to every story. So.
Right. I'm taking more LeBron's side about constructive criticism versus soft hating.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
After that quote, I can see Shaq was kind of soft hating. He wasn't telling Donovan Mitchell really how he can get better. He just said just call him out.
Yeah,
and then left him there.
To be fair, I don't think Shaq's necessarily the smartest person of all time.
No.
So, but I do agree. That was definitely more soft hate than constructive criticism.
Well, he does have a hella good pizza sponsorship.
But bro's not even working there right now, and he's still promoting them. Dang, Calvin on the
Papa
grind.
John's over Domino's.
Domino's got better crust, though. No, hang on. We can go on this for like an hour.
We are not talking about that
we could make a whole separate pizza argument video.
Long story short, the players, they just need to keep their head in the game, not worry about what the outside people are saying.
100%.
Like, no matter what. I mean, LeBron, he knows how to do that. LeBron's really good at blocking out the hate.
Yeah.
And blocking out the noise of the outside world. So, like,
he's really good at blocking shots, too. Hey.
Hey, but he's not a defensive player.
Hey, gosh.
All right, is that all we got for tonight?
Well, okay. Yeah, well, we got a couple more things. Just two little things. Upcoming games to watch this week. There are two games that I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
We got Denver Nuggets, 12-8 on the season, versus the Lakers, 16-6. And that'll be Thursday night, February 4th on TNT. It's the late night game. So I'd say
Wait, what
if
time?
you want to watch some basketball, watch that game. But also Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, we have the Boston Celtics versus the Utah Jazz. Two
That's
really
gonna be good
playoff teams. Again, playing on TNT at the night game. So if you really want to get into basketball and really want to start understanding the sport, I think those are two good games to watch. Hopefully they're not blowouts, though, because that's the thing with basketball, is that you could always have 30-point blowouts on national TV, and that's never fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'll definitely try to tune in for that second one at least, because I'm sort of excited for that one.
Yeah, the Jazz have been on a great run. They had an 11-game win streak up until this past Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. I want to thank y'all for watching this basketball portion of Sports Banner. Make sure to be on the lookout for the other sports that we break down.
Pretty badly, but we still do it.
All right, remember, whenever you need more sports, come to Sports Banner. This is Calvin. Thank you for watching tonight.
That was bad.
Oh, it was terrible. We'll work on it. That's on the short list.
All right.
That's fine.
Bye.